we were all waiting to hear exactly how Aaron Rodgers would react to this pick. Publicly, at least, that was his first reaction. What did you think of it?
Well, he handled it like a pro, Greeny, but this has been a couple kind of public comments that he's made that I think are very telling. You know, when he uses the phrase, my sincerest desire to play for one organization, like he's telling us that was always his plan. And now a massive wrench has been thrown into that plan with the Packers kind of obviously drafting of Jordan Love and their preparations for the future. I think the reality comes down to this, Greeny. If the Packers are playing well and Aaron Rodgers is playing well, this probably will not be a massive talking conversation over the next year or two. But I want to bring everyone back to about a year and a half ago when the Packers were in between their coaching staff or the coaching decision with Mike McCarthy. And Aaron Rodgers was outward and saying that they played in San Francisco 2 years ago. And he remembered standing on the sidelines and saying, I want to play for an offense that looks like that. One that's fun for a quarterback to look like that. Balls going down the field all over the place. So they bring in Matt LaFleur, somebody who runs a very similar scheme to Kyle Shanahan. Now, that offense for Green Bay last year was okay. It was middle of the pack in a lot of different things. And so if that offense stays middle of the pack and is just kind of okay, then the whispers are going to start. And then the conversations are going to start that maybe Aaron isn't good enough anymore, or did they not surround him with good enough people? Man, Jordan Love is ripping it up in practice. And so that's when the real story or the real emotions will come into play here. But if the Packers are winning football games and he's playing great football, it won't. But let this turn into a struggle for him and their offense over the next season, and this will get ugly.
Yeah, winning always covers up issues. But, Louis, we talked about this right after the draft, questioning the pick. Now that Aaron has weighed in and we can sort of sit back and digest what it all means, what are your thoughts today?
Yeah, I think first and foremost for Aaron Rodgers, I think he showed a level of maturity that I think many people really weren't counting on him showing. I think people thought he would have a much more visceral, emotional reaction to all this, but I think Aaron sees what is happening, and he's someone who's a historian of the game. He's someone who studies the history of the game, and he understands, look, the situation was very similar for him when he came into the league. So I think he understands what's happening. He may not like what's happening because, again, as Dan alluded to, his desire to really play for one football team his entire career, but he sees what's happening. He sees that it's not going to be in his control, and he sees that some other things outside of his circle of control are going to be really what drives whether, when he moves on. That namely being, how quickly does Jordan Love come along? And then from a contractual standpoint, when does it make sense for the Packers to move on from him? It really doesn't make sense for them to move on from him in 2021. But once 2022, once that new league year starts in 2022, that's when Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur are really going to have to decide, okay, is now the time? Is Jordan ready? Because now we can really swallow this cap hit and we can move forward. That's really the reality of the situation. That's what the Packers are gearing towards, and that's really what Aaron is going to have to start planning for.
I agree with everything you said. Everything you said is right because of the amount of money they owe him. But here we are talking about a situation where a team is looking forward to the moment when they can get out from under having Aaron Rodgers at their quarterback. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, Dianna, if all of us are reacting this way, what are you hearing from people around the league, particularly as it regards Rodgers' long-term future?
Well, Greeny, you said you guys couldn't get to this topic on Monday because of The Last Dance, where we watched Michael Jordan basically make up slights to stay motivated. This is exactly who Aaron Rodgers is, except this slight isn't made up. If there's any quarterback in this league who is fueled by people doubting him, it is Aaron Rodgers. And all he has to do is look over to New England with what happened when they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo. And we all thought that Jimmy G was going to take over the reins and Tom Brady was done. And Tom Brady used that to motivate and play well. And what did they do? They moved on from Jimmy, and Brady continued to have a successful career. So while he handled this, I think, maturely, we all know Aaron Rodgers is the most calculated person probably in the NFL. So he said all the right things. But I think if there is one season where we're going to see the biggest step from Aaron Rodgers play, it's now, because he wants to show Green Bay, hey, guys, I ain't done yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I called it a scorched earth tour last season. It didn't fully materialize. Let's see in the second year in this offense if he can do it. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.